Monsieur Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bësal mu fay.
What?
Bësal mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave acts in Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills, and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Bësal mu fine. Wave, your money is yours.
Good morning on Wednesday, the 26th of March, 2025. It's 8 a.m. in the Gambia and therefore coffee time on West Coast Radio. On YouTube, we are accompanied by Wave and Ja Oil. Thanks for joining us.
In a world where progress never sleeps, one company stands out as the driving force behind infrastructure and energy solutions. Introducing our fuel company and cement producer, where excellence meets efficiency. Ja Oil. The company have 30 filling stations across the country that are all operating, which includes the recently completed Yarambamba and Old Yundum filling stations. And our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Along the years, Ja Oil introduces importation and distribution of cement in their line of business to diversify and strengthen their operations. Are you a cement retailer? At the moment, Ja Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market. With a focus on sustainability and innovation, we are paving the way for a greener, stronger future. Trust in us to fuel your projects and lay the groundwork for success. We currently produce over 25,200,000 bags per year. As the largest cement producer in the country, Ja Oil also targets to export cement to the neighboring countries like Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, and others. Join us on our journey to shape a world where every drop of fuel and every bag of cement makes a difference. Together, we can build a brighter tomorrow.
On Wednesday, the 26th of March, it's coffee time with Peter Gomez live on West Coast Radio. On YouTube, we are sponsored by Ja Oil and Wave. Thanks for joining us. Now, the quest for Gambians living abroad to participate in the country's electoral process has been a recurring theme. Section 39 of the Constitution is widely interpreted to mean that every Gambian has a right to register and vote for the president, members of the National Assembly, as well as local government leaders. Yet Gambians in the diaspora have continually been shut out from the electoral process. Diaspora Gambians not only contribute over $500 million annually to the nation's economy through foreign remittances, they also contribute through investment in productive activities that support economic growth and job creation. According to the Central Bank of the Gambia, CBG, remittances from Gambians worldwide reached an unprecedented $775.6 million in 2024, a remarkable increase from the corresponding period in 2023. Now, many had expected that the wait by this group of Gambians to be part of the electoral process would be over with President Adama Barrow firmly in control at No. 1 Marina Parade. After all, diaspora voting was a central plank of the coalition that helped usher him to power in 2016. But all hopes of Barrow delivering on that promise have been dashed, at least for now. Another vote in the National Assembly last night being the final nail in the coffin. Let's talk about that vote with one of the National Assembly members involved. I have right now on the phone the UDP's Honorable Yaya Menteng Sanyang, representing Latrikunda Sabiji. Thanks, Honorable, for coming on the program. Let me begin by asking, how did you vote yesterday?
Peter, thank you very much again. Yesterday was another interesting day in the National Assembly with regards to diaspora voting in the election bill that is before us at the consideration stage of the National Assembly. If you can remember, earlier on, the National Assembly rejected Section 14 or removed Section 14 from the election bill that is before us. Literally, this denied the diaspora to vote in the national elections from presidential up to the local council. So yesterday, we were deliberating or debating on Section 24 and Section 25 of the Election Act. Now, because we removed Section 14, that is to give diaspora, Gambians living in the diaspora to vote. So Section 24 and Section 25 are also talking about diaspora. If my memory could serve me well, Section 24 is talking about persons shall not be entitled to register as a voter in any constituency or in foreign country. For the fact that we removed Section 14 about diaspora voting, so we thought that anywhere foreign country is mentioned, we should remove it. So Section 24 and 25, Section 24 is talking about prohibition of double registration, where a foreign country is mentioned. Section 25, if my memory could serve me, was also talking about issuing of voters card, where a foreign country is mentioned. So we thought that it was brought by the majority leader that everywhere or any section that a foreign country is mentioned is talking about the diaspora voting, so it should be removed. But yesterday we insisted. The majority camp, they were not able to bully us with their majority yesterday. So now Section 24 and Section 25 all contain foreign country. So I think that this has given the diaspora another legal leg to go to the courts for interpretation.
So they have to go to court.
If they want to go to the court, they can go to the court. You know, Peter, what is happening, in fact, if you look at Section 39, for me, National Assembly have acted in excess of their legislative authority, because Section 39 mentioned that registered in the National Assembly constituency of the Gambia. For me, if you ask me, I don't know what was passing in the mind of Parliament at the time, but this is not clear. This section is not very clear to me. National Assembly constituency of the Gambia. That is why in the famous case of Bakar Bunja Dabo and others versus the IG and the Attorney General, the Supreme Court interpreted this Section 39. So which means that Section 39 is now an interpretative clause. Said Gambians every Gambian has right to register, including those in the diaspora. So for me now, the real essence of separation of powers, if National Assembly make laws, and this law is not very clear, now citizens go to the court and seek for interpretation. Now the court interprets it that every Gambian must register, including those in the diaspora. To me, this settles it. National Assembly, we are not clear, but the courts are clear. So that is why yesterday the AG told them categorically clear. Diaspora, the right of diaspora to vote is not against the Constitution. And this was the view of the majority camp, that it is against the Constitution. In fact, I was very happy yesterday how the AG took us through the sequence of law. Section 4, Section 26, Section 39, Section 88. And the AG told us categorically clear, it is not against the Constitution for the diaspora to vote. So now I think this settles it. Probably in our next deliberations, the majority camp will now be able to restore Section 14, because the AG said it's not against the Constitution. And this was the view of the majority camp during our last consideration stage, that it is against the Constitution, therefore we cannot allow the diaspora to vote. But now the AG made it very clear to us yesterday, it is not against the Constitution.
Okay, and if that clause is restored, whose responsibility does it now become to make sure that it is implemented in time for the 2026 presidential election?
Thank you very much. That is why I said we have acted in excess of our legislative authority. For me, it's the IEC responsibility now. And if you also look at that judgment, Peter, the Supreme Court said the second defendant in that case is the IEC. So if you look at the judgment, the IEC considered in the judgment. And further in the judgment, the Supreme Court said IEC take the responsibility now, which is the second defendant of that case. So it is the responsibility of the IEC to make sure Gambians vote in the diaspora. That is why I told Parliament, it is not our business. In our primary legislative function, we make the laws. We have given the IEC the mandate to bring in their policies and their subsidiary legislation. So it's not our mandate to nose into what the IEC will do as far as foreign voter registration is concerned. It is now, and to answer your question, it is the responsibility of the IEC. And in fact, even the report, during the consultative report, during the consultative meeting, the IEC told the National Assembly Human Rights Committee that they will be able to go and register the diaspora. That's what it's why Honorable Shoaib Touré told us that yesterday. Fantastic. In the consultative process, they consulted the IEC, and the IEC told them categorically clear they will be able to register Gambians in the diaspora. So now it is not the business of the Parliament anymore. It's left to the IEC to register Gambians living in the diaspora.
In that case, the Parliament has done its bit. How would you like to respond to those frustrated diasporans, and understandably so, who've gone to the extent of describing you and your colleagues in the National Assembly instead of honorables as dishonorables?
Well, that's not extreme, Peter. But one thing I will make is that I tell diaspora, let them make themselves very comfortable. The signals I saw yesterday in the National Assembly, it's like now members are now coming to understand. Probably deleting Section 14, they did not listen to some of us during the deliberation. But we told them that this is not against the Constitution. The Gambia in the diaspora, National Assembly making the laws in those days, we are not very clear with Section 39. The courts make it very clear they have right to vote. But they didn't listen to some of us, and we went further to remove Section 14. But the mood and the characters I saw yesterday during the proceeding, during the deliberation, it seems there is hope that Section 14 will be rescinded. At one point, any member can bring a motion to rescind Section 14, and now Section 14 will be restored. Diaspora will be able to vote. So I'm telling the diaspora, let them start calling us honorables. We will surely restore Section 14, and probably they will be able to vote in all the subsequent elections. I'm very, very optimistic. I have never been more hopeful about diaspora voting than I am today.
Honorable Sanyang, we join you in being hopeful. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you.
Honorable Yaya Menteng Sanyang, representing Latrikunda Sabiji. It's coffee time with Peter Gomez. On radio and on YouTube. On YouTube, we are sponsored by Jar Oil and Wave.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jam, Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello? Ano lay waxal?
Bisul mu fay.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money